Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles, a great millstone that taught us his truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful Lake Akim, teaching and preaching his truth with all righteousness and sincerity. This is Yahweh Sop. Today's lesson is entitled, They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and his beloved Son in the Paleo Hebrew. And as always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, to use the gospel preached. So they serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up, which was the report given concerning the three holy children, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, as they were not falling down and worshiping the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And Lord willing, I'm going to run parallels with how Esau Edom, which is the daughter of Babylon, he's going to have an image. All right. It's an implantable device that go inside your hand, and with it, you'll be able to buy and sell and operate monetarily in this new system that he has, that he wants to set up in the very near future. We talk about the MOTB, which is the RFID technology going under the skin. All right, like I said, with it, you'll be able to buy and sell. And that's his image that he wants to set up to have everybody fall down and worship it. All right, and as it is written, the thing that have been is that what shall be, which I'm quoting from Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says the thing that have been, which is your spirit, because reincarnation is biblical. We've been on earth many times, but in different bodies. It is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. The point is, things repeat itself. All right, there's no new thing. Languages change, and how you communicate with people change, but the energy behind it is the same. So just as here in Daniel the 3rd chapter, which we're going to read, you had Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon. He sets up this image for all nations, kindreds, language, and tongues to worship. And if they don't fall down and worship that image, the order is for them to be put to death. So let's go ahead and get it. Daniel, he was a Judite, so-called Negro. Daniel in the Hebrew is Dan Ya'ala, which means judge of the Most High. All right. So this is Daniel 3:1. It says, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dora in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up. So we see here that everybody was on board with this image, this order, this new world order, so to speak, that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. And in this kingdom, although there's an illusion of the right versus the left, the Democrats, the Republicans, America against Russia, Russia against America, all these different countries are at odds. At the end of the day, they all on board with this new image that the king wants to set up. And right now, the king is Esau Edom, the elites. All right. These Edomites who are in high position, the governments, the bankers, the upper echelon, the shadow government, all these kingdoms are on board with what Esau wants to push. Okay. All right. He wants to push out that digital technology. Now, Esau house is divided. So there's war. They kill each other. They do all these different things fighting for that top position. But the point is they all on board. Verse 3. The princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then the herald cried aloud To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages. So this image was set up for all people to fall down and worship, or to stand before it and bow. And as I was saying earlier, we're running parallels with how in the ancient Babylon civilization, or kingdom, should I say, the Neo-Babylonian kingdom, you had an image set up, and there was a decree pushed out that everybody should fall and worship that image. Well, in these times, during the daughter of Babylon, which is ruled by Esau, you got the same vibration, and you got heralds. What is a herald? Herald goes back to the Hebrew word karaz, karawazah, karawaz, a herald. All right, let's just go into the etymology. Karaz, a herald, proclaim, make proclamation. All right. You have a news station called the Herald, where they come out and they just make proclamation. They say what's going on. So Esau is going to be using his media, his television, social media, reality TV characters, your actors, your politicians, all these different people to come out and proclaim that, look, this is cool. We should do this. All right. You're going to have a lot of individuals set up to lead many astray. Okay. And these people are all paid for. Verse 5, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar has set up. So there was a sign given, and when you heard the music and all these instruments playing, that was the time to fall down and worship the image. And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the fire of the burning fiery furnace. So the judgment was, if you didn't fall down and worship this, there was a grievous death. Be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, at that time, when all people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, has set up. So you're going to have people that get down with it. You're going to have people standing in that line getting the MOTB, getting that technology put inside them. This section is called Worship of the Image Refused. Wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews, which are Israelites of the southern kingdom. It says, they spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. O thou king, how has made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and the dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. There are certain Jews, certain Israelites, whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You had Israelites during the time of Nebuchadnezzar set in high position. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right? And these men worship Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So when we run the parallels in these times, there's men that's in high positions in Esau's system that watch the videos, that believe, that's not going to take the MOTB. All right. Certain individuals in the military, certain individuals within the political spectrum of Esau's world, whether they Democrats or Republicans, Israelites on high levels, that's not going to worship this system or this image that this system is going to push out. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. All right, and that's where we get the title from. All right, and this is going to be the mindset of the elect, whether what position they in, whether they in a high position or in a low position. They're not going to serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which these were their Babylonian names. When you read in the first chapter, you get the breakdown of their actual Hebrew names. It says, then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, so they were just like Yahweh Shai said, ye shall be brought before kings and governors for my name's sake. All right, which this happened way before Yahweh Shai was on the scene. But the point is, these things happen. When you come against the king, you know, some of us may be led to come right before the king and get so-called judged before the king. You had that with Apostle Paul. You had that with Yahweh Shai. You had that with who else? And other men. Okay. Now, if ye be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? So here's Nebuchadnezzar giving them a second chance, so-called, to fall down and worship this image. And then you see the pride in this devil's heart. All right. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. And that's the mindset of the elect. You know, we're presented, Lord willing, we are part of the elect and we endure to the end, of course. But we're presented to kings and governors and magistrates in this society. We're not going to be careful to answer thee in this matter. We're not going to sugarcoat it. All right, we're just going to tell you no. If it be so, our power, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. So this is the faith that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had. And they prophesied. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Right? This is the spirit that's in the elect. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. So this fiery furnace was, the intensity of the flame was heat 7 times more than what it normally was. It says, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Now, those that don't worship Esau's image in these times, the judgment is let me see, where is it at? The judgment is to be beheaded, tormented. Uh, 20. There you go. Revelation 20. And once again, that which have been is that which shall be, and there's no new thing under the sun. This is a revelation which this was written by Apostle John, the beloved disciple of our Lord Yahweh Shai, the son of Zebedee. And he was exiled on the island of Patmos for the controversial teachings of our Lord Yahweh Shai. While he was in the island of Patmos, which is in the Mediterranean Sea, an angel was sent unto him to give him revealings of things that will shortly come to pass. He saw Esau Edom pushing that MOTB. He saw the persecution of the saints. He saw the deliverance of the saints. He saw those that got victory over the beast in his image and his mark. Right? This is Revelation 20:4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat on them, and judgment was given unto them. Judgment is going to be given to the Israelites. Like I say in Daniel, the 7th chapter, the saints shall take the kingdom. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, for the prophecies, and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Yahweh 1,000 years. So this shows you that you're gonna have men that's not gonna worship Esau's image, his mark. They're gonna be beheaded, and then they're gonna come back and live and reign with Yahweh. This is reincarnation. So this is the judgment in these times concerning Esau's image that he's going to set up, and he's going to want all nations, kindreds, languages, and tongues to bow down and worship it. Now, every Israelite lot isn't to be beheaded, but some of us, is going to be faced with Revelation 20:4. But the balance is you're going to live. You're going to come back, and you're going to reign with Yahweh in the first resurrection and all eternity. So back in Daniel chapter 3 and 20, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. And best believe when Esau finds out that individuals is not taking this technology, all right, in their hands, he's going to be sending the mightiest army. All right, the National Guards, the military, secret services to come and get us. 21. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen and their hats and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. It says, therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And looking at this through the spirit, this was divine intervention. This was a sign given to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that, look, the Lord got us. The Lord is already killing our enemies. All right. Before we even got in there, it says, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound in the midst of the fiery in the burning fiery furnace. So these men got tossed in there. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astounded and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose. And look, remember, they was bound in there. You see, fell down bound. So they had what we would call today handcuffs on them. But then Nebuchadnezzar, he looked. He not only see the 3, he see 4 men, and then they not even bound. They're loose. So what the hell just happened? It says, and he answered and said, lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. They wasn't burnt, Akim. In the form of the 4th is like the son of Yahweh. They saw Yahweh in there. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. They came up out of it. Remember, when you go up to the above verses, 17, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Lord put the spirit on them to prophesy their victory. And the Lord is putting the spirit on us to prophesy our victory. Daniel 3:17, if it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So the Lord enabled divine intervention for these believers. 27. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors began being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, They didn't get burnt up, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither was their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. They didn't even smell like burnt. They didn't even smell like burning ashes. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego have sent his angel, Yahushua, and delivered his servants that trusted in him. That's a good title for a lesson. And delivered his servants that trusted in him. It says, and changed the king's word and yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any power except their own power. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which his name is Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, shall be cut in pieces. Changed his mind. And their houses shall be made a dunghill, a shit mountain, because there is no other power that can deliver after this sort. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. You know, fear came on everybody when they seen these three men that trusted in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and was eligible for the divine intervention of deliverance out of the midst of the fire, out of the midst of the fiery furnace. So this is history of our forefathers that trusted in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and major deliverance was granted unto them. And we ran parallels with Esau. All right, he's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, to fall down and worship his image that he has set up. And those that don't worship this image, all right, it's going to be some of them, it's going to be beheaded. All right, for the witness of Yahushua and the word of Yahweh. But we read in the latter part of Revelation 20:4 that those men lived, so they'll come back. All right. And we spoke about that which have been is that which shall be, and there's no new thing under the sun. These same things that happen in these various kingdoms aforetime, happens repeatedly. Another example is during the time of the Greek Empire, when you had these Edomites forcefully converting Jake to that Greek way, to be Hellenized. All right, and if you didn't follow that Greek way, the order was to be put to death. All right, so Lord willing, this was edifying to the Lord's elect. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us his truth. Chapters like this build up the inward man. Increase your faith. Shalom, Akim.